So it is my honor tonight to welcome Dominic Penaloza, who is the Chief Innovation Officer here at Naked Hub. And he will be talking about innovation in co-working spaces and how it's jump-starting these spaces. He is a serial entrepreneur who has started 3 different companies and has personally raised over $2 million in funding. So Dominic?
Thanks, Mark. Oops. Thanks. Oops, I have to put down my beer. You missed a zero there. That was $20 million, but that's okay. Who's counting? What's a zero between friends? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Naked Hub, Jiuzhanglu. Today, hopefully in 15 minutes, I have 2 goals. One is to hopefully open your eyes to the opportunities in prop tech and real estate technology. There's a very quiet and huge revolution going on. And secondly, hopefully some really, really useful advice for entrepreneurs. So that's my goal. Let me know at the end if I reach my goal. But first, I heard there was going to be a lot of entrepreneurs and potential entrepreneurs in here tonight. And so the most important thing is I just want to salute you, and if at all possible, to support you. So you guys, in my mind, are the gladiators in the pit. You are not the spectators in the crowd. And this path, if you take it to become an entrepreneur, means you're definitely not choosing the easiest path. You're choosing one of the harder ones. But I think that at the end of the day, it's all about looking in the mirror and having no regrets. And so it's really about the journey of pushing yourself to the limit and doing as much as you could possibly do. And it doesn't really matter, well, it does matter, but whether you succeed or fail, it's still also about the journey and that conversation you will have with yourself at the end of the day. And hopefully I wish for all of you that you have no regrets. And personally, I feel that choosing the path of the entrepreneur is the best path. It's the most rewarding, it's the most fulfilling when you build products that users use. So first, I would like to salute you, and I hope we can all, let's give a round of applause for all the entrepreneurs and new entrepreneurs in here tonight. What you're doing is really, really great. Whoops. All right. So the first part about what's going on in real estate, where real estate meets technology, the quiet revolution that I was mentioning is that the principles of the sharing economy that you're all familiar with, like Didi, Mobike, Airbnb, all that, is now being applied to the world's biggest industry, this $300 trillion industry, which is so slow to innovate, super slow to innovate. There's now entrepreneurs applying technology and sharing principles to one of the world's biggest markets. So if you're an entrepreneur and you smell market opportunity, this is what I mean by hopefully it can open your eyes to what's going on. At Naked Hub, this is what we believe. This is our mission, that sharing creates new possibilities. We've seen it in cars, in hotels, in bikes, and now we're seeing it in commercial real estate, just like this place that you're in tonight. Whoa, I'm really bad at this. Can whoever's controlling that, thank you. The size of the market that we're talking about is about 100 trillion US dollars globally. And where I got that number from is that JLL, Jones Lang LaSalle, one of the world's biggest property consultancies, constantly doing research. According to them, 30% of the world will become flexible real estate by 2030, so in the next dozen years. And 30% of the world's commercial real estate is worth about $100 trillion. And coworking is just a part of flexible. But coworking itself is so early stage. We are still just pioneering what coworking even means. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that tonight. Our vision is this. Why do office buildings all look and feel the same? And why are they all so cold and actually devoid of human warmth, devoid of community, totally devoid of community? It doesn't really have to be like that if you think about it. So the office real estate, the office buildings of the future will be full of warm community, human interaction, and best of all, a place where people actually help each other. So we've been making headway into this vision here at Naked Hub. You probably heard the news. We were just today, the deal actually technically closed. We are now merged with WeWork, which is the world's bigger company doing what we do. But we share the same vision. It's really the whole keyword of the whole business model is community. And how can we use technology, and how can we use service delivery, service experience design to create these user experiences for people online and offline, to change the way that office buildings are done, and to help everyone to work better and live better. So in our rough beginnings, in this early stage, we focused on creating this online and offline social network. We didn't know until really recently that it's the best performing one in the world. We look at our daily active users and our monthly active users, just like you do, hopefully. And recently we've been performing at 34% in March, which is up from 30% for the last several months. So that puts us in the top 10% of all apps in the world. If you're at 25% on that metric, you will be in the top 10% of the world for your app. And the great thing is, it's not driven by meeting room bookings. Yes, in Naked Hub, you do have to use our app to book a meeting room, but actually, our number of social interactions far outweighs our number of meeting room bookings and door unlocks and tools. For us, it's all about the social, because it's all about the community. Hopefully in the second part of this presentation, I'll give a little bit of insight about how could we achieve that? How could we achieve the 34%? I'm really bad at this thing. Okay. And this, I just want to present for 1 minute, a little video. At Naked Hub, we consider it our greatest innovation to date. It's called Naked Hub Go. And the elevator pitch for that would be Mobike for Office. So without further ado, this is our greatest innovation. And we think this is going to transform commercial real estate. We think this could be a Starbucks killer. But you tell me after you see this video. So this launched about 2 weeks ago. It's really rough. We're still debugging it even. But you can see, hopefully, from this video, what our dream is or what our goal is. It's to be the first to make Office into a truly consumer-level service. That anyone can have a second office at Naked Hub. Anyone can have a third place, the so-called third place that Starbucks has been basically monopolizing for 20 years. Anyone can come in and use our space as their third space or their second office, purely on demand. It's like 25 renminbi cents a minute, works out to 15 RMB per hour. And as you hopefully know by now, the coffee and the beer is free, so you can do the math. And our Wi-Fi is about twice as fast. It's 200 megabits per second here versus 100 at most coffee shops. So in the real estate world, there's so much opportunity for entrepreneurs to find different market opportunities that are untouched by the big landlords, because they're so rich, they're so successful, they hardly need to innovate. So it's a really exciting place to be. Next, the second part is more about my top advice for any kind of new entrepreneur is about product market fit. I guess in the bootcamp you've already studied this topic, hopefully, because to me, this is it. Like, this is the number one thing that I wish I had known much earlier when I was doing all of my startups. Product market fit is pretty obvious, but it's the degree to which your product fits a strong market. But that's so easy to understand. But what is difficult is, how do you know? Unless you have an instant hit, which is like 1 in 100,000 or 1 in a million, where the first version takes off, that's one case. But if you're not 1 in a million, how do you know if every change that you're making to your product is going in the right direction towards success? So whatever that new feature is that you just added, how do you even know if that was good? So I found a tool, and that's what I want to share with you. I found a tool that can help us, all of us, to know if we're going in the right direction between product market fit. I encourage everyone to just Google or Baidu product market fit as much as you can, and learn as much as you can about it, and see what all the experts or the body of knowledge that exists around this concept, started by this man. It's as simple as that there's really only 2 kinds of startups: the ones that have achieved it and the ones that haven't. And the great thing for us is that the playbook, or what your priorities should be for the 2 stages, are very clear. So if you know which stage you're in, you can really focus on the right priorities and avoid wasting your precious time and your precious resources on the wrong priorities. I don't have enough time today to go through the details, but just there's a lot of information out there. Study up on it, figure out which stage you're in, and look at the priorities for each stage. And it can really help you to avoid big waste of time and resource. And if you happen to be before, these are the top 3 things that you can do, or that you must do. In fact, you should drop everything and only do these 3 things. Rewrite your product, change your team, or change people in your team, or even move into a different market. Don't hire a sales force, don't try to raise money, don't hire a VP marketing. Actually, those things will take you away, actually, from reaching product market fit. The main priority is just reaching that product market fit. So everyone's working on product at the beginning. Everyone, regardless of function or background. And this is why it's so important. The number one reason of failure of startups is because they don't achieve product market fit. And a lot of us, including myself, thought that we have it, but we actually don't. And when you're in that situation, then you're adding a lot of users, but you're actually churning a lot of users. And so it's actually, even though you're marketing, you're spending a lot of energy on marketing, it doesn't really work. So that's why it's so important. So how do I know? What I found is the 40% rule, and I feel it's not famous enough. So thank you for the opportunity for letting me tell you about it today. And if you find it useful, I hope you tell other entrepreneurs about it. It's a guy, Sean Ellis, he came up with this. He came up with a very simple survey. Just ask your users this one simple question and just give them a multiple choice selection of 4 choices. How would you feel if you could no longer use this product? Very, very disappointed, somewhat disappointed, not disappointed, or even I don't use this product anymore. So it's very simple to execute. You can literally send a survey through your app or through email, or you can sit down with tons of your users and ask them face to face. The answer of when you have product market fit is when 40% of your users say that they would be highly disappointed, very disappointed, if your product was gone, if they could no longer use your product. So this is what I wish I had known in my previous, or 2 startups ago. We thought we had it and we didn't, and ultimately it failed. In my first ever product that I made, was one of those rare successes where I think we had product market fit almost right away, so lucky. And then here at Naked Hub, I think 40% of our users would cry if Naked Hub closed down. So I think we're pretty much at product market fit here. And with Naked Hub Go, I'm applying the same principle. Right now, I don't know if 40% of the Naked Hub Go members would be very disappointed if they no longer had Naked Hub Go. But I'm still using this to guide my priorities of where our team invests our time. So I hope it becomes useful to you too. Last piece of advice, I was really happy to hear the product focus of the Wagon. Personally, I feel that the product manager's skill in any startup is the single biggest determinant of success or failure of any startups. And the reason I feel that should be obvious is because those people should be the most skillful in helping you reach product market fit. So therefore, it should be the most important thing, right? So where should you be, or where can you find product managers? Or if you're going to become a product manager type of person, what experience and skill set do you need to have? This is it. It's not so easy. You need to understand these 3 things very well. You need to understand the technology side well enough, but you don't have to be a master engineer. You have to understand the UX part, but you don't have to be a visual designer. I'm neither of those things. And you also really have to understand the business side, the commercial side. You have to be thinking about how this thing ultimately makes money. You can't be too much of a purist, too much of an artist. You have to be able to balance these 3 things, or you need to find someone to join your team who can balance these 3 things. And then the one way to, how do I know? If I'm interviewing co-founders, kind of dating co-founders, or interviewing potential recruits, how do I know? You have to look for product thinking, in my opinion. So product thinking is at that intersection between the top 2 circles. It's the thinking about user experience, but in a product way, or kind of in a business way. So for example, in Naked Hub, one of our interview questions would be, so here's our app. So here's the meeting booking function. It's very easy. You just come in, choose your hub, choose your time, say how many people you have, and you pay in naked coins, which is our virtual currency. And every member gets 200 coins free per month to use for meeting room bookings. And then Candidates, okay, yeah, got it. I say, so, if you book a meeting today with 200 coins, if you book a meeting, say, in July, and that costs 200 coins, is that taken from your current coin balance for this month in April, or is it taken from your coin balance of July? And this kind of question can illuminate to us whether this person has a high degree of product thinking or not. It's methodically thinking through the user experience and also the business implications and business logic of something of a little problem like that. Look for this, or develop this in yourself, or look for this in your co-founders, because this links to that product market fit, and product market fit links to your ultimate success. So that's my hard-won advice for everyone. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone's presentations today, the 5 demos. I'll be around at the end if anyone wants to talk further. Thank you very much.